evening, everyone. Welcome to the thebharatconnect community. So this month, we are going to discuss a very, very interesting latest trend, I would say. The topic is from dashboards to decisions. How do you get AI to recommend next best actions, not just reports? We all know we are using AI in different shape or form, and especially looking at even an Excel sheet, giving you a overall overview or a kind of a thing. So are you just using it for that purpose, or are you even willing to let the AI to recommend you the next best actions, right? So that's going to be the topic, right? Let me introduce the topic, and then I'll introduce our panelists here, and we go from there. Most contact centers have invested heavily in analytics over the last decade. We have real-time dashboards, workforce reports, customer sentiment analysis, quality monitoring scores, and predictive insights. Yet many leaders still spend hours interpreting reports before taking action. AI promises to change this by moving from reporting to recommendation. The question is no longer whether AI can tell what's happening. The question is whether AI can tell us what to do next, and whether organizations are ready to trust those recommendations. Our topic for today lives and dies on one question. Can AI tell you what to do, not just what happened? Let me introduce, we are supposed to have three panelists today, but we have two. And one of our panelists, Viral, but is not able to join us today because he's not feeling well. So we're going to go with only a couple of our panelists. Let me introduce Komal Kolar. Komal brings over 2 decades of experience as a banking practitioner across operations, business leadership, and most recently heading risk and compliance at SBM Bank. That full arc matters here because in financial services, the hardest part of next best action is in the model. It's making the recommendation complaint executable and trusted. She's digitized core risk workflows, slashed manual effort, and led banking's shift from physical to digital. Today, she advises BFSI leaders on compliance by design and pragmatic AI and teaches it at IIT Delhi. Komal knows what it takes from an AI recommendation to survive contact with a regulated business. From bank's side of the table, welcome Komal. Thank you so much for being with us, and we are happy to have you on board.
Thank you, Taman. Thank you for having me.
So from bank's side of the table, let us move to the client side, right? Where a recommendation only counts if someone actually trusts it enough to act. So let's welcome Abhishek Kumar. Abhishek leads customer experience at Vyapar, one of India's largest SaaS platforms for small businesses, spanning products such as Neodo and TaxOne. His whole discipline lives where metrics meet action, NPS, retention, and onboarding, where a number is only useful if it triggers the right intervention at the right moment. Having joined Vyapar as one of its first employees and built the function from scratch, he scaled data-driven frameworks that often automatically decide what happens next for a customer. Abhishek brings the operator's view. How do you turn AI's next best action into something teams can actually run? Thank you so much being here with us, Abhishek. Welcome on board today.
Thank you, Utman. Thank you.
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, Viral is not going to be here with us, but we'll go ahead with both Abhishek and Komal with our discussion points. Okay, so I'll repeat the topic again. From dashboards to decisions. How do you get AI to recommend next best actions, not just reports? Okay. So the first discussion points, Komal, will start with you. Many organizations continue to invest heavily in analytics and reporting, yet supervisors still spend significant time interpreting data before acting. Have we become too focused on building better dashboards instead of helping people make better decisions?
So, Uttaman, my take on this, before I dive into the question, let us understand what the data is supposed to do for us. Data is supposed to translate into information and hence further translate into insight. So, what we do with that insight becomes relevant. For deciding what we do with the insight, there must be a clear goal that the organization has fixed. So, for every business case, there must be a clear goal in mind before starting and publishing the dashboards and reports. As much data, as much information and insight can be generated. The underlying point lies here is how we are utilizing that information for making those outcomes better. There is before I give an example to explain it in a better way, what I mean by what I just said, I would just touch upon the prime difficulty that managers face when we come to this question. So there is a research agency called Forrester Research Company. I think it's an American-based research company.
Yeah.
So they did a research some time back wherein they have stated that there is about 60 to 73% of data that gets generated in an organization which is unused for decision making. So only data is getting generated, the dashboards and reports are being published. However, the use of data for the purpose of decision making is very limited. So why an organization is generating the data? Data is for enhancing the critical thinking aspect of it. We already, as subject matter experts, we need data to draw an insight and ultimately use it to improve the outcomes. So we want to improve our critical thinking. We want to improve our intuition. We want to improve the gut feeling. As a subject matter expert, we already have these things. So either the data will challenge these portions or we will challenge the data, but the ultimate end goal is the outcome that we started with is achieved. So we are not losing it on the way. So I'll just kind of try to explain it better with an example. For example, I read about Google's people analytics team, which very recently. So they did a research. It's a big tech company. So a lot of technology is being used within Google. So they decided to conduct a survey or a research or generate the dashboards and reports based on certain parameters, which to answer this question, are managers important or are managers relevant? So because technology is doing most of their part. So this was a difficult question for them to answer, whether managers are important or technology can do everything on its own. For this, they considered intaking of data, such as the semi-annual reviews of the managers, the retention rates that the managers have, what is the kind of churn that the team is showing, so and many other attributes, which were inputted into data analytics to ascertain and arrive at a answer to this question if managers are important or they are not important for carrying out a particular function or department. When the outcomes arrived, the outcomes assisted them to conclude, yes, managers are important. So high scoring managers, the managers who got high scores, they had less churn in their team. They had a turnout which was lesser, and the productivity of the teams was higher. So which made them, so this is one portion that data allowed them to conclude that only machines are not sufficient to fulfill the task, but managers are important. So the outcome with which the answer to the question lied in the data, which helped the company decide whether to take a decision on expanding their manager base or truncating it or leaving it as is. But the interesting part of this analytics was the company did not stop here. They picked up the 10 best parameters of the high scoring managers, like 10 best traits, and included it as a part of evaluating their entire management team, and also included those parameters to improve the training programs that they did for the management.
Oh, okay.
So it answers the holistic question. What we do with the data will determine where are we headed in terms of the outcomes that we started for in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much you want to spend time on, like, investing and understanding and, like, listening to what it tells us, right? So there is always some story behind it, like, some story yet to be discovered from this data. So how much time are we willing to spend to listen and then, like, learn from it and take action? Yeah, very good point, Komal. Yeah. So let's move to the next discussion point here. So Abhishek, like, would like to ask you this one. Like, when we talk about AI recommending next best actions, what are some real world examples that have genuinely delivered business value? Is it workforce management, customer retention, agent coaching, collections, sales, or something else?
So, Utman, if I say according to my experience, so everything which you have mentioned in your question is right, apart from sales, because sales is something which requires too much of trust. In India, still, I believe before paying any amount before paying, we need to get trust first. It's not like
Yeah.
AI is calling and AI will ask that pay this amount, then anyone will pay. I don't believe as of now, it's not correct. So basically, AI is going to help us. Like I have used at my organization, we used a tool which are giving me a insight of each and every calls. And that, as you mentioned, that tool is helping me to understand where people are going wrong, what SOPs and what mistakes they are doing, what call
Mhm.
etiquettes and what soft skills they are missing. And
Okay.
yes, that tool is helping us on taking a decision where we can improve on which part in which segment any agents or any teams are lacking. So
Okay.
according to that, yes, it's AI is going to help us in retention. My personal experience in just 6 or 8 months, I have realized it's going to tough because for retention, either users, according to my product or by our accounting product, if users are not stick to initial stage, it's very hard to make them active, later on a stage. Because they are not interested, they are not happy, they are not going to pick your call. Either it is getting triggered by the human or AI. But yes, down the time, I feel it's going to work, but it will take some time.
Okay. Yeah, sales, as you said, like, yeah, it's not just a number, it's not just explaining a feature, it's not like it's a lot more than that, right? So the trust, very, very important, and that's going to be very interesting to see what AI can do to bring that trust, right? So maybe sometime in future, like, we'll not even
Yes,
think too much if we'll take it for granted, and um, you see that kind of playing out in some sort, right? Even now, like, um, if I remember right, like, in India especially, eating outside was not popular. Meaning, for a couple of reasons, could be economic reasons, but more than economic reasons, even if we have well-to-do, still the trust factor was not there. Meaning, like, always, like, homemade food was, like, considered to be the best, and like, good for you and everything.
Correct.
So it was rare, like, people see out, like, when they're traveling also, they used to carry food with them. And when, like, very rarely we get to eat outside, right? In fact, that's like, we are celebrating something big if you're eating outside, right? Unless, like, for
Correct.
whatever other reason, right?
But
Just
now it's
think
changed,
about,
Usman. If you see, the
yeah.
people are ordering food on train. So
So
this is
it's
a
like,
matter of time. Definitely, it will get
you,
changed over the time.
yeah, it's like not even the travel, not even at work. Now you're just sitting at home where we have a big
And
kitchen
ordering
and
food.
a big refrigerator and full of all ingredients to ready to be cooked, but still we are ordering food. So what a drastic change it is, like, so yeah, who knows? We'll see. Okay, so the next discussion point, like, originally for Viral, so, like, if Komal or Avi, like, any one of you can address, or both of you can also share. Okay, so if an AI engine recommends moving agents, okay, if engine recommends moving agents, changing schedules, escalating customers, or triggering retention campaigns, where should the line be drawn between recommendation and automation? Should AI advise, decide, or execute?
So, according to me, we have implemented all these three by the help of AI.
Okay.
At our support team, we are getting calls, and by the tone and by the choice of word, we are triggering that leads as a escalated. And yes, AI is able to flag that, trigger that. But yes, we have kept a team which who are handling that concern, because that concern need to be heard, because it's a very sentimental or emotional things. So I will say, before executing and giving solution, it is still in the hand of humans. But yes, AI is able to trigger and flag that calls which you need to take care. And as far as a workforce management concern, yes, it's helping a lot, because AI is able to judge the requirement of the agent, and yes, AI is able to predict the executive nature as well, from
Hmm.
their last calls and transcript. Nowadays, transcript are easily available by the help
Yeah.
of AI. So now AI is helping us to find the required agent and put there in a particular queue, so that they can handle calls in a very effective manner. They can solve customer queries in a very rightly, I can say. It is helping us to improve our ASC, which is called in BPO average handling time. So if our calls are getting landed, which is getting spread to anyone without having check which person will solve it immediately, which person will solve
Mhm.
it promptly. So now AI is helping to route call to the efficient agents as well. And yes, AI is helping us to fix the agent shift as well. So roasting and everything is getting solved. Execution part is still getting done by managers, or there
Yeah.
is a dedicated team who is taking care of customer satisfaction. That's
Yeah.
called CSAT team. But yes, multiple thing which was getting done by the humans, now it's getting solved by the AI.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, Komal, you have anything to add?
Okay, for this question, especially in financial services, let us first try and understand, what exactly is when AI decides and executes.
Yeah.
So automation is something, where you are giving instruction to a machine, and machine is working on the set of instructions that we as human have provided. And then we have moved to, something called augmentation, where we are combining humans and machines together. So both are jointly working and executing an action. So that is a space where we are in mostly. And then we say agentic AI. So agentic AI is something wherein it is executing on its own. But when it is executing on its own, it occupies a very limited space. That kind of use cases, especially in financial services, do not exist too much. We are still pretty much between automation and augmentation part of it. So execution is happening, but it is always backed by uh, human review, supervision, monitoring, whether starting at every stage of the model. So when we are talking about deciding and execution, the decision making is not left solely to the machines. Right from the beginning, when we are delegating a task to a machine, we have to understand at that very stage, like we do it among human teams, who is going to do what. So we need to own really what portion is going to lie for the purpose of initiation, execution, monitoring with the human being, and what will be completely done by the machine. So that is the starting point. Even at that, during the course, when the business case is progressing, there is a clear description that machines need for our for reaching the outcome for which that business case is designed. So if we are planning to increase sales, say by 10% every quarter, we have inputted the attributes in there. We exactly, as experts, need to explain it to the machine in terms of what feature engineering, what kind of work on each attribute the machine is going to work to give us that 10% growth every quarter. And the role does not end here. We have to also validate the outputs. Is our machine giving us that kind of a outcome, like sales are increasing by 10% every quarter, or they are just not moving? So if they are not moving, then what has gone wrong? So possibly we have to revisit step number 2 or revisit step number 1 to see that the needle gets to move. And within banking, even if we are getting the outcomes that we designed our a use case for, like in sales increase 10%, so at the models, diligence is also important. So we must be able to explain to somebody how that outcome is achieved. So transparency is important, absence of biases are important, explainability is important. So decision making at any stage cannot be solely left to the machines, though machines are deciding, but it is following that feedback loop to ensure that there is no drift, or the machine is not moving away from the objective of that business case. Execution for the purpose of speed, for the purpose of adding efficiency, for the purpose of giving us results faster than a human would possibly deliver, increasing productivity, etc. Execution is slowly being moved on to machines. But pure decision making without feedback loops is like something which is not a good sign for that business case to be a progress at any point in time.
Very good point, right? So we have to see how the model is performing, and you have to also be responsible enough, like to see how the model has been trained, or like what kind of a data sets, and is there any room for favoring one decision versus other, favoring one group versus other, or favoring one policy versus other, a lot of different things plays out. It's just not easy. Because as a human, when you're making a decision, that is a different thing. But when you let some machine to make that decision based on certain assumptions, can lead into a unknown territory, with unintended consequences. So very, very challenging, right? So, in fact, one of the scenario that I am working on right now, just came up like last week, is uh, this customer is handling a large portfolios for third-party collections in the U.S. market, and so they do millions of calls, and then on a daily basis, and then what happens? Not all calls are getting answered on, like, when you call, right? So sometimes they miss the call for whatever reason, and then some of the customers are curious who called them, and then they call the number back, right? So when they call the number back, that volume of the call, inbound calls, are huge for them. And then what they are finding out is, most of the time, people are calling, and let's say a person called John is calling, and then saying like, "Hey, I'm John. I'm calling." And then, but then the back end, what they were expecting is like, not John, like a Peter, for example. Oh, we are looking for Peter in this number. No, it's not Peter, it's John. Oh, sorry. Sorry to bother you. So, like, we are not intended to call you, so we'll not call you anymore. And there ends the transaction. So the bottom line is, it's not adding any value, or it's not giving giving them any additional revenue, but it's taking a significant part of their agent's time, and the resources, right? Because these calls are coming, and then they don't know that calls are important or unimportant, right? Till you answer the call, you don't know. So now we are just, fine tuning a model, so where we can automate this complete process, and so AI can autonomously handle the situation, answer the call, and take the name, and then do a background check. Hey, if that name matches to any of our account, or any of our other information, or this person is the same person, or this is a different person, and then update, make the appropriate update, and then handle the transaction. So you don't need to have a human to do that task, right? But still, even here, model is good and everything, but then how do you double check what it is doing is the right thing, right? So um, even by mistake, you don't want to update one customer with a wrong data, right? So because that one is not going to stop at one. We know that it can repeat again, and it can lead into like you know unintended consequences. So we are now spending a lot of time putting in a guardrail. Okay, how do we make sure this is going to work all the time, and not. So can we do a cross check? Can we do this? So that's what we are trying to do in the background before that transaction gets completed, right? So because without a guardrail, without thinking that through, it might sound very simple, but it can lead into a challenges, in a different ways. Yeah, good point, both of you. So let's move to the next point, discussion point. Yeah. So Komal, this is for you. We have all seen situations where dashboards are ignored and reports go unread. Could the same thing happen with AI recommendations? What causes business leaders and the supervisors to reject AI generated advice even when the data suggests it's correct?
So our starting point was converting the data into information, into insight, and we started discussing it from the perspective of what we do with the data that is getting generated, for us to accept or reject the data. We must understand, we must listen to the data carefully, like you mentioned, before we have that decision of accepting or rejecting the data. So whether we challenge the data or data challenges our critical thinking, in this question itself, there could be three reasons. That first, the data, the dashboard or the reports are not getting generated properly. Second, it could be a skill issue. The person who wants to interpret or infer information or insight from the dashboard or report doesn't have the necessary skill set to interpret. So we are just, it leads from one report to another, perhaps. Or the third one is nothing is being done with that data that is getting generated. So a small statistics was also shared where it says like up to 73%, 60 to 73% of the data goes unused. So we are not even looking at the data from the perspective of decision making. So in that discussion, I shared a good example of what Google did. So there is a bad example of what another company perhaps is doing. So there is a car, I would not like to name the company, but there is a car, there is an online car dealership company, and it will also possibly resonate with you when you just were talking about what challenge are you trying to address in terms of the inbound call volumes, and you want to, want an agent to handle it. But then there is an extension of what an agent can cause in terms of a disaster for the end user. So a car dealership company online, up till sale purchase transaction of that car is human led interaction. So you go on the platform, you are assigned a human relationship manager, you are able to sell your car or purchase the car via that platform. Till that particular point, a human being is involved. So after the car sale happens, the relationship manager moves from a human to a robot. So it's a agentic. So it's a agentic AI. It's a agentic AI bot that attends to all their calls for after sales query that anybody may have. So suppose an individual has sold a car but does not know who the car is sold to, and there is a post sale transaction like a RC transfer that has to actually happen after a car sale. So you decide, okay, I want to talk to some human and be sure of the process, because I don't know, there is a aggregator is in between. So you do not know who's the purchaser of your vehicle. So you want to get in touch with that aggregator to ensure that the transaction flow is seamless, the genuineness is there, or you are confused about just paperwork, you just want to reach out. So you make endless attempts on their number, which are given on their application, which are now being handled by a agentic AI mechanism. You call them, the bot will talk to you. The agent will talk to you. I'll not say bot. The agent will talk to you. They have put in an option of talking to that agent and telling the agent to transfer the call to the human agent or arrange a call back from the human agent, but that never happens. And that never happens. And even that the agent is active, so the client continues to get calls via auto dialer. So when we were talking before, so now the point of monitoring the whole thing, so there is a lot of data getting generated. Who's calling back? Why did the customer call? Either there is no mechanism that the data is getting generated, or the data is just getting generated but is not being used to improve the experience of the customer after sale. So this is one example which exactly fits into the question that you asked. So we can either not be generating or do nothing with the data, or possibly we don't know what's the next step, even though there are enormous count of dashboards and reports which are being generated internally.
So there is always that challenge, right? Like whatever the data we have, it has to make sense, and we should be willing to be able to spend time understanding it and going inside, right? So that otherwise, like even we can make mistakes, but then if you can make that mistake, and so if you're taking that approach to a bot, like it can do even more damage than the good. So
So just one point, Komal rightly said, why data is getting ignored. It's not, I believe it's not getting ignored. The people who need for that data, they ask, and I find in my team as well, when I ask the questions from that data set, that people are not aware about why they need this data, what they will do with this data. Only just for seeing some theoretical points, they want to build some dashboard, they want to build some reports. So, rightly said by Komal, before asking or before having any data set, you should have clear objective and motive,
Mhm.
that what you are going to do by seeing that data. Is it going to help to improve your any business matrices, like Komal mentioned? It is going to improve your
Yeah,
customer experience, or is it going to have your better CSAT, or what data you
yeah,
are going to see? So yes,
yeah,
people are not like that. It's based on the how people read the data. It's sometimes it's getting ignored, and yes, it's rightly said. The multiple time I have seen people are not aware about what they are going to do.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the bigger challenge, right? Like without knowing what exactly the end result or what we are looking to do, and so that creates a lot more
Without
confusion.
this,
Yeah,
data is going to be ignored.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Abhishek, the next discussion point is like this, right? If we fast forward 3 years, what decisions do you believe AI will routinely make on behalf of contact center leaders, supervisors, and agents? And which decisions will remain firmly in human hands?
So, formally, we have discussed about this, but I will explain a little bit more. As I mentioned, as of now, in call center in a BPO, if you see, there is a very huge team for the workforce management, for a MIS to get all the data and everything. For maintaining quality, there is a very huge team who is handling customer quality, calls quality, to handle escalation and refunds. So there are lots of things which is getting handled by the huge team size. I believe that part of things like workforce management, quality score, and all these things will get automated in future. But yes, like a troubleshooting steps, and where we need to understand the people emotions, or some kind of escalation where legal terms and anything is involved, then definitely humans are going to be a part. But yes, I will not say down the time. If you ask me, just 2 years back, we are thinking AI will not be able to handle calls. But believe me, in a current time, I can name multiple organizations who are completely moved to the AI agents, and they are
Yeah,
handling their complete inbound service through the AI agent. And then at the stage where they are not able to solve by the AI agent, they are transferring that call to human agents. So
yeah,
in this 2 year itself, it's got changed a lot. In the downtime, AI is going to change it by optimizing the call center processes, like suggesting agents or team leaders or manager where you are going wrong, what you need to be done, what need to be improved, and it will be fast by the help of
yeah,
AI. Because in a human, I will give an example of a team leaders. If you ask where your why your AST, why your connectivity, why your customer satisfaction gone down, then they will sit and they will extract some data set and they will do the analysis and then they will come to you. But nowadays, they are having a raw data set and they are just doing the analysis by the help of, you can say the people are using Claude, ChatGPT, Notebook, lots of tool, and the- very few times they will take and they will come with the example. But yes, it's required little bit of human. Then it will take a proper action, the decision which we are discussing today. For a decision for what going to be fixed, definitely down the time also human will be required. But yes, things will get optimized by the help of AI.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there are still like certain things that human will be in charge of. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So this last point, like yeah, both of you can give your opinion. Yeah. So the point is like this: if we if you had to choose one metric that proves an organization has successfully moved from dashboards to decisions, what would it be?
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
So for me, one standard metric is there, which is measurable business outcome, which is return on investment. So you can fix that measurable business outcome for use case specific metric. You're working on increasing sales, so you have to see the percentage increase in sales, but then it has to be measurable. It has to show a clear trend of improvement. If it's a part of customer service, for example, you are seeing a lot of complaints, you want to see the reduction in complaints, which will ultimately impact your bottom line. So you will say reduction in complaints and it has impacted your bottom line clearly. So measurable outcome dependent on the use case you are working on is a clear metric for any kind of business case, would be my take for this
Okay.
question.
Okay.
So, metric, if you ask me, I'm implementing AI calling, and I get to understand it's very challenging as of now because I'm measuring customer satisfaction rate. Because what's happening if I implement the AI agent, definitely AI will be able to handle my all 2.5 lakhs calls in a month. But with which quality? As Komal said, yes, you have to track your business outcome. So for
Yeah.
me, my business outcome for a customer service, it's a customer satisfaction, which at every calls support system and service system is triggering a rating SMS or feedback SMS survey form they are running out. So that was one of the metrics in a customer segment or BPO industry because escalation and refunds it always come when customers reaches next level or highest level of frustration, right? So your first business matrix, which I'm tracking at Vyapar, that is the very feedback which I'm getting from each and every calls which AI is handling, and CSAT, which I'm tracking as of now.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So, yeah, that brings us to, like, end of all the main discussion points that we wanted to go through today. So meanwhile, like, we keep some time at the towards the end for the, answering questions from our participants. So audience, like, get your questions ready. You can do it either chat or, you can ask. Either to Komal or Abhishek or both, whatever you want. Okay, so meanwhile, while you're getting ready with your questions, let me thank our panelists and, so Komal, Abhishek, thank you so much for being with us today, and it was wonderful talking to you. And, we learned a lot. I know it's not easy to take a time from the weekday, especially the beginning of the month could be a lot of different things going on, and so thanks so much, and we appreciate your time, and looking forward to inviting you guys in other discussions or different format or whatever. So in future, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to host you. I know, Komal, you have been here with us even earlier, so thanks so much for that, for coming back.
Thank you very much, Uttaman, for inviting me on your platform and giving me this opportunity to share my
Yeah,
insights.
yeah, it's a
Komal, can I
pleasure.
ask one thing from you? I just have questions for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Please
So
go ahead.
I just have a question. As in the initial time, we asked that AI is going to handle. So when sales came into picture, that's a money transaction came into picture. What you believe that anyone in India, especially, do you feel it's going to happen that day? People are going to make a transaction, money transaction, to have purchased anything or any amount they will pay by the AI calls or something.
what models are being used in financial services for sales are many, and they are being used for many years now, almost over a decade now, for the purpose of promoting sales. But like I said, in financial services, clear, just based on agentic AI, some recommendation is going and the client is completing that sale transaction. That is not the kind of use case, business case that exists. Most of the cases are basically for increasing the penetration in the wallet of the customer, or trying to sell a particular product to the customer based on the customer behavior, assessing the requirement. For example, an organization wants to increase the personal loan portfolio in their entire book, so they score the customers based on, there is a scoring model, scoring machine learning model, which is being used. So the customer's behavior is studied and scoring is done to ascertain the propensity of personal loan in that customer's portfolio. So the customer having highest score, for example, 1 to 5 is the benchmark, 5 being the highest. So somebody having the score of 5 has high propensity. So that kind of a data is then shifted to distribution channels. So a distribution channel could be a digital channel or a branch channel. From there, the human touch comes into play. So somebody, for example, your score is 5, the data shows that Abhishek is score is 5, and there are attributes which show that your score is 5. So there is a high chance that you will purchase a personal loan from a bank. So a relationship manager will approach you, guide you of the process, show you your pre-approved limits, and there is high probability of conversion. So that is one business case. Cross selling is another business case. So for sales, different type of use cases are there in the industry, and it is happening for a considerable period of time now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's interesting to see, right? Like a lot of these things happening, and the whole transaction sometimes can, like, happen and close over a phone call, right? Could be a loan, could be a, like, credit card transaction, could be like, purchasing something, or like, yeah. So it's getting interesting, and so lots of different things going on at the same time, I would say, right? Because it's not like, we are just making the experience better for the customers. The the transaction time, like, has shrunk so much. Like, it can now go from, like, which could be weeks to days, now days into hours, and hours into like a minutes now, like. So that's a drastic change on one side, and then so like, that puts us in a situation where, good thing, like, you are able to make more revenue, but then on the other side, like, it can put a stress on the, like, the support side. Like, if you're doing that many transactions, like, how like, any questions, or like, any challenges, and like, any fallback, any like, thing that's missed, how are we going to handle, and how like, yeah. So who made that decision, like, to do the way, like, or so if it is a model, then, like, that makes it even more interesting, right? So now, how do you go about and handling it? So, like, so did we have any safeguard there to protect us from, like, from situation like this kind of a thing? So yeah. So it's going to be a lot of interesting things that, like, we are trying to solve, and it's going to evolve into. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So let's see if we have some questions from the audience. Okay, there is one question in the chat. Okay, since we spoke about inbound calls handled by AI, if AI achieves a 95% call resolution rate, what role do you see human agents playing in the future?
Can I answer this?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I'm trying to implement this, and I have connected few people who are implementing AI. So first of all, achieving 95% of resolution It's quite, at least at a SaaS industry, because at a multiple times you need to connect with the customers, and you need to take the remote support, you need to conduct the KYC and everything, right? So first of all, completing a 95% in a current time, it seems very difficult. Honestly speaking, we can see 30-35% of resolution is happening. And if it's going to achieve, then definitely there will be some, as I mentioned in a discussion as well, there will be some emotional, sentimentals, and discussion was there that will be handled by teams. There will be multiple inbound calls, which is going to be asked in a very different way, on which AI or AI agents is not trained. That is going to be also transferred to the human agents. And third one, there are lots of call which is going to be escalated or very irritated. That is also required a human involvement. So yes, as we discussed, AI is going to improve, optimize, increase the productivity, but it's not like, as far as I see, in the current time, human will be required.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So we got a couple of more questions. AI agents can make incorrect decisions if the underlying data is inaccurate. How soon do you think we will see self-correcting AI agents that can automatically identify, validate, and even correct inaccurate or skewed data before making decisions?
Self-correction model, I believe it's not going to be too far, because it's required your product journey. If it is a SaaS, because I'm not expert in different things, but as far as the SaaS concerned, I have seen, if you are going to add your product journey, if you are able to provide complete LMS of your product, then definitely AI is also going to be prepared some question and answer from their side. And you need to build your both AI or customer as a AI agent. And like you have to build a AI agent, you have to build a AI customer, then both will interact with each other on the basis of your product explanation, which you have provided to the AI. And it's depend, but definitely it's going to be come soon.
Okay. Komal, you want to add a bit more closer
First
to
thing
your...
first, for any model that we are building or anything that we are talking about, whether it is self correction or it is without self correction, or we want to kind of take the model to complete agency, the underlying is data. The outcome is as good as data. So even if we want to review the data, we want to refeed the data, provide a feedback loop to the model, it requires review by humans at all points in time. In near future, it doesn't appear that models will be working on their own without human supervision. Uh, in at least next 5 or maybe more years also. So we don't see models working without humans. Data is incorrect, so that the problem there is bigger. There's a saying which says garbage in, garbage out. So you
Yes.
put what you get what you put in there. So you feed the model with all irrelevant, unhelpful, raw data. uh, that is the kind of output which you will get. And today the challenge is even more, because we are getting data generated in a sporadic manner. So it's not just the CSV files, it's not just the structured data. For one individual, you are getting tons of unstructured data, which is in the form of images, your video, your audio, your chat, social media, and whatnot. So the data engineering is a subject in itself. So
Yeah.
for starting building a model, it starts from fine tuning of the, I mean, refinement of the data, cleaning of the data, feature engineering, a hell lot of things which are part of uh, data engineering in itself. So to answer that question, data is incorrect, so the responsibility lies with humans to ensure that correct data is being fed in the machines so that it is supporting the business case for which the model is being developed. There are also
Yeah.
statistics around most of the models being pulled down because ROI is not delivered more than 9. Some statistics say more than 90%, some say more than 95% are not crossing the pilot stage, or the project did not deliver the ROI, so it had to be pulled down midway. So it involves huge cost, it involves huge skill set. Foundation is data. Even self,
Got it.
we want to create the best of the model, foundation is data. Unless we are
Yeah.
motivated by some sci-fi movie and we want to see the robots kind of doing the so if
Correct.
Yeah.
that's the scene, if the question comes from that, it's interesting. But otherwise, in real world business scenarios, that's a far-fetched place to be, at least for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So there are a couple of more questions. Let's see how quickly we can go through them. Beyond CSAT, are there any leading indicators that help you predict whether an AI deployment is successful before customer feedback starts coming in?
Yes, I
Any
think it's
leading?
depend on the product or service which you are in. For a
Mhm.
BPO industry, it's definitely a CSAT or quality score or a feedback or ratings which you are getting. And secondly, if you, as a Komal mentioned earlier, if you are in a sale, that's a business outcome, that's a ROI revenue which you have taken as a target or which need to be accomplished. Right. In a success or CSM account manager industry, there will be a activation, retention,
Mhm.
onboarding, different parameter is there. For support also, there will be a different parameter like resolution rate, how fast you are able to, your AST is your parameter. So lots of parameter is there. It's depend on what business outcome you took as a make AI agent successful.
Okay. Okay. So that's good. The next question is, what is one thing customers still find frustrating and despite all the technology available today?
Is it question related to AI calling or technology? Because
I
technology and
would,
just
yeah, I
AI
would
calling.
assume like that. Yeah, yeah. I think it would be to AI, I guess. Yeah, yeah,
AI
yeah.
agent, which I believe it's a hallucination, is a very big problem, and getting at a right answer. Guardrail is introduced recently. So as of now, I believe that's a hallucination is a main problem, and getting a call etiquettes and solving customer problem is it still in a development. I think at least for me. Still, I'm at, I can say 30% of resolution rate and quality is also a concern. But I will say hallucination, which AI is currently doing, that's a very
Yeah,
main
yeah,
problematic part for the users at least.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So there is another question, which is, what is the testing methodologies that you recommend to be practiced before deployment and production? The idea is to achieve first time successful implementation instead of making corrections once we go for production.
Where your business and your experience is not getting impacted. You have to find that window where you can test your AI implementation, which you are going to take. I will suggest never try at a place where your business and your customer service is going to be impacted because one a better experience or one bad experience can drop your user. That's why try to find a safer place, a safer window where you can deploy this and learn this.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes giving a beta mode, like letting the customers already know that, hey, this is a very early stage, so it's not like a final product. So who's willing to try out those features, right? So that way, it's a little bit more
Correct.
safer bet, keeping them informed in advance, and so their expectations are also set accordingly. So yeah, and they hopefully they will not get frustrated that much. Yeah.
And then,
Handling problem.
sorry, Uttam, can I
Yeah,
answer?
please. Yeah.
And then models are not static, so they are dynamic in nature anyway. So
Yeah.
once we build a model, it will always have a feedback loop. So where the model is drifting, it needs to be trained. It needs to be retrained at all points in time with new information that that is relevant to today's time. For example, a model is created to monitor fraud metric. So the fraud
Yeah.
metric has 10 parameters. So now 11th kind of fraud mechanism fraudsters have invented. So the subject
Correct.
matter has to review the model and incorporate that 11th parameter in the model. So for that particular period, we say UAT, like back a pilot test or a background testing is anyway happening before putting that particular feature into live production. So user access testing behind the scenes, where it's more like a pilot and not a model in production, that is happening on a continuous basis, because the
Yeah.
generation of data is enormous. The regulations, the compliance parameters, the methodologies, mechanisms are changing almost at a real time basis, or you can say at a very very fast pace. So this is an
Yeah.
ongoing activity. Sometimes customers may not even feel the impact of what is happening at the back end. They will only see the improvement that comes when the model with changes is put into production. So that is
Yeah.
an ongoing piece for any business use case in the industry.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like a driving, right? So you, even though it's a straight road, it's not that doesn't mean that you hold the steering still. It's not it's never that way.
You
You
have to
still
keep driving.
yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it has to be absolutely yeah. Okay, sounds good. It's good. Feels good to answer a few questions at the end of the discussion. So it's a satisfaction somebody's understanding or listening to what we're discussing. So that's a good thing. So once again, we're coming to end of this panel discussion. So thank you so much, Komal, for being with us, and once again, and looking forward to have you in future. And Abhishek, thank you so much for joining us today, and looking forward to welcome you in another panel discussion in the future. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Taman.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.